So I have what some people might think is the perfect website, but I'm gonna kill it off, and this is why. Since I was in year 3, I've loved making websites. I found a website builder called freewebs.com, and I made a website called freewebs.com/ppb4, which was a way to embed mini-clip flash games in my website so that we could play them during IT class instead of actually learning how to use Microsoft Word. But since then I've been hooked. I've had so many websites over the years. I've had a personal website, I've had a magician website, I've had design portfolio websites. I've used website builders like Card, Squarespace, WordPress, Figma, Webflow, and I've loved it. I love having a home on the internet for myself. And a few years ago, I realized I didn't really understand how a lot of these web technologies worked. I was working as a UX designer and I was handing off a lot of my design work to our front-end team, and I found it so interesting seeing what they coded, and I really wanted to know how to do it myself. So I built the current version of parvendesign.com, and my rule for this was simple. I didn't want to not understand any of the code that went onto the website. So I wrote all of the HTML, all of the CSS, all of the JavaScript from scratch. And obviously I used tutorials, I copied bits of code from here and there, I lean on Stack Overflow heavily, but by and large I made something that I'm quite happy with. I had a really good nav bar, it kind of worked responsively on phones decently, and I could put lots of content about myself up on that. One of the cool things about building this completely by myself and understanding how all of that code worked was that it was just incredibly performant. It was just static HTML, CSS, some image files, and some JavaScript, which has led to me getting this really accessible, performant website. And by having these 4 green 100s, whenever something pushes that below, I'm rushing to try and fix it, and I'm like, oh, how can we get these scores back up to being full? Even though I basically have no website traffic, so it doesn't matter hugely. The point where I started bringing in code that I didn't fully understand into my website was when I wanted to incorporate my blog. So at the time I had parvendesign.com and parvenblog.com, and I was writing more and more articles and cross-posting them to Medium and other publications. And those were hosted separately because I'd used a starter template with a static site generator called eleventy. So eleventy is very similar to Jekyll. You give it a bunch of markdown files and it spits out a website basically. And I realized having these on separate domains didn't make a lot of sense. So I took the parvenblog.com code and smashed it into the parvendesign.com code, and I therefore had like a functional website, and I didn't understand this one little blog bit of it, but I still understood the rest of it, so I was happy. But then as time went on, I wanted to add more bits to my website. I've been working on loads of personal projects, so I've been building this macOS app, I've been selling my book, I wrote this book that I wanted to sell online, and I threw up a design portfolio when applying for my new job at Fern. And all of these things required me iterating a lot quicker than if I was just writing code which was poorly optimized, and my CSS file and class names were all over the place. There was no consistency to any of it. And this has just led to me having lots and lots of disparate web properties all over the internet. It's been good because I've been able to spin up things fast, and I love using Card. I've used it to make one-pager websites for lots of friends and family. But I think the time is to embrace the fact that I don't need to understand all the code that's going into my website. I really want to have a super modern, performant, functional website which looks beautiful, which can host everything all in one place, so I can have a blog in markdown files, I can have a really easy to update portfolio, I can sell things, I can have a buy button on it. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kill off my website. I think I'm gonna start from scratch, yet again. I know it's a bit of a trope about designers continually working on their website or portfolio and never actually calling it finished, but I'm okay with that. It's a personal website, so I want to just keep iterating and keep making it better. And I think the direction I'm gonna go is this. I found Tailwind UI's built-in website framework to be really cool. It looks gorgeous out of the box, it's super customizable, it's still in code, so I still get some of that fun of getting to tinker with the basic bits of front-end code that I understand. And then there's all this stuff to do with like builders and React, and I think it's a Next app router instead of page-based router website, but I'm gonna have to learn what that means. And I think it's fine that I just don't know how all of it works out of the box. I think I've got a strong enough fundamental understanding of basic HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to model my way through. And of course, with the help of Cursor, which I absolutely love, which is an AI coding environment, So my goal is to bring all of those web properties I talked about under one roof and put them all under the domain parvindesign.com. I think this will also help me in terms of SEO and information architecture. Instead of sending people off to different web properties and linking out, I can just build my search engine ranking and keep everything all together in one place. And the good thing about that Tailwind site is it has really good Lighthouse scores already, so even though they're not absolutely perfect, I think that's completely fine for a modern website in 2024. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed hearing me talk about this. If you like this video, please do hit the like button below, and please subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. I'm Parvin, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.